All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, and I made the mistake of trusting a snake. But before I go further, let me give you a disclaimer. If you easily get upset with words, then this video might not be for you. Today, you're going to see Harris Sultan at his absolute best if you dislike self-righteous virtue-signaling pricks, or at his absolute worst if you are a sensitive little snowflake like Aladdin. There are many people of all ages from all cultural backgrounds, including Muslims, who know me really well. I'm a nice person to nice people only, and I can be pretty mean to idiots.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
So all the roasting you're going to see in this video is for him and him only. But if you're a nice person, you'll find me nicer than you. Just don't be a prick to me. Anyway, call it a weakness or a quality. Whenever someone reaches out to me, I take it in good faith. I did the same with Javad Hashmi, but when he tried to be smart with me, unfortunately, my inner sultan came out. The same thing happened with this clown who thinks he has a license to police people's speech. I understand one thing. The internet is a rough place, and there's no point in worrying about what people say. You do your thing and get on with it. He apparently has a problem with people using terms like Abdul or boat people. Personally, I don't see that as a big deal. Yeah, nobody likes to be insulted, but you can't do anything about it other than either ignoring or responding with an insult of your own. Kind of like what I did to him in the second half of that debate.
I don't owe you respect, especially when you say things like that.
You do actually, because if it wasn't
No, you
me,
don't.
You probably wouldn't have ever come out and opened a channel. If people like me didn't
You
exist,
really overinflate your contribution. Harris, you are one of many people.
So throughout the first hour, he was being passive-aggressive with me, but I kept ignoring him and was waiting for him to cross the line. When he realized that his virtue signaling wasn't working on me, he called me and AP idiots at 1 hour and 15-minute mark.
Like when you mentioned my city and you're like, oh, why is he wearing a mask? Both of you idiots. Like, can't you understand why someone would wear a mask? You understand the kind of hate that you get. And you're all like, oh, I don't get why he wears a mask.
But when someone uses a word as harmless as snowflake, he gets upset.
I have been listening. You relax. You're the one who's calling me snowflake and coward and all that kind of stuff.
And his virtue signaling followers, who also suffer from the same disease of, oh, we are too nice, we don't say mean things. Look at this prick of a woman saying, someone made a kid with him? Look, to be honest, personally, I don't care. When you get to my place, you learn to ignore things. Yes, had she said it to my face, I would have said something back. Otherwise, move on. Nobody likes insults, but that's just how it is. Learn to live with it, Aladdin. So after he called me an idiot, I knew at that moment that I had to go after him, and go after him I did.
You don't know shit. You don't know anything. You just speak from your backside.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I can't even tell because of the mask on your face. I can't tell where the sound's coming from. But it seems like it's coming from your backside. You are a serial shitter. You should understand that. But as I say,
we all are Harris. Everybody shits.
But you're shitting on people just purely out of jealousy.
People have known me for a long time, and they have seen that when the gloves are off, I don't hold back. Watch my conversations or debates with Hakikachu or Javad Hashmi. But I'm also not mean to nice people. Watch my conversations with Mufti Abu Layth, Hamza Ali Abbasi, and even Sheikh Uthman, all of them practicing Muslims. The difference is, I don't pretend to be as clean-cut as Aladdin does. The advantage of that is people don't have any expectations of me. But on the other hand, charlatans like Aladdin project such silly standards that they themselves can't live up to. This is why in this conversation his mask fell off. Well, figuratively, because for his mask to fall off literally, he would need something we call balls. You can see by the end of that horrible conversation that he was no longer that clean cut that he likes to present himself as. He has a problem with people calling others names, but this is what he does to other people. He called AP an edgelord and put people like me in the dark side of anti-Islam content creators. Personally, I don't care. Of course, nobody likes insults, but that is the way it is. Being smarter than him, I realize that people say all sorts of things on the internet. You don't spend time crying about it.
So after many videos were made about me, I received a massive influx of vitriolic messages from his supporters. I was called an Abdul more times than I can count, a secret Muslim, a terrorist supporter, a race loyalist, a towelhead, a goat fucker, etc. Once a Muslim, always a Muslim.
What is a man? What has he got?
This is not it, however. In his self-righteous little mind, he thought that he was going to be able to corner me on random non-issues like Abdul's or boat people. He actually could have grilled me on the Israel-Palestine conflict, on the so-called allegations of pandering to Hindutva or the Christian far right. But because he is a
World-class idiot, that's what I'm saying.
he got caught up with words that I have already said are no big deals in my book. When he couldn't get anything out of me, he got frustrated. Aladdin, if I could be taken down by clowns like you, then I would have had an even smaller audience than you. It's so petty, but I know this is what eats him from inside. Check out his obsession with AP because he's got the biggest subscriber base. Have a listen.
It started to irk me when I realized that now most of his audience isn't even ex-Muslims or Muslim. AP's channel had already received a significant following of non-Muslims. Audience is his channel's audience. To an audience is devout audience. The audience reacts. Kind of audience. His audience, and the audience of this channel.
He is obsessed with numbers and has shown his displeasure many times at not getting enough subscribers while AP and I clean up. And like any other loser, to cope, he says, well, they say popular things, that's why people listen to him. If I wanted to do that, I could do that too. Check out his coping mechanism.
And you said it, that you have
No, it's not
experience with social media. I know what needs to be done to get popular. That's what you're doing.
No, Aladdin, you don't. Like any typical loser, they never look into the reasons for failure. Instead, they go after people who are more successful than him. He wants to be the new leader of ex-Muslims where the guard is changing.
You are fixated on this changing of God. There's an evolution of discourse. You are obsessed with this. You have said numerous times that how you get upset that AP gets more views. Or
No, I'm upset that people like you represent us when they actually don't.
But
there's
not
that
represent.
illusion.
No, nobody. You don't represent me. You don't represent a lot of ex-Muslims. You do you understand?
I represent a lot more ex-Muslims than
don't.
you do.
No, you don't. You have no
Yes,
numbers.
I do.
Show me a
I
statistic.
know I don't
Show
have numbers, but I'm showing.
So how do you know this?
I can't show you. I can't prove it to you, but I'm telling you. Just
prove it to
mark
me.
my words. I'm on a path.
I don't need your words. Your words are cheap
The
as
furthest you're
chips.
ever going to go is a rally with Tommy Robinson.
Give me a number that shows that more ex-Muslims gravitate
When you
towards
go to a
have
rally
no
with
number.
Tommy
This is your
Robinson,
hubris.
you're clearly not one who's representing
This
ex-Muslims.
is your hubris talking. This is your hubris and arrogance talking. Apostate Aladdin, please.
If there's any
This is for
arrogance
your own good.
that entered this chat, it was from you. I didn't bring arrogance into this.
Am I saying that I'm a representative, a spokesperson on ex-Muslim? You keep saying
No,
that.
but you boast about your experience on social
representative
media,
ex-Muslim.
not realizing that you make mistakes. You're not even owning up to mistakes that you're
Like
making
what?
on this very stream.
He is obsessed with becoming this leader of the ex-Muslim movement. This is why he goes after other ex-Muslim influencers. This is why I think after AP and me, he's going to go after Nuria Khan or Amin Nawabi. But you know what, Aladdin? None of us consider ourselves leaders of the ex-Muslim movement. We've gone past that. We've seen the glory. We have attended conferences like, hey, look at this ex-Muslim. It's not a thing anymore for us. We use this label purely for awareness purposes and for other ex-Muslims who are not as privileged as us. You can be the leader, kiddo. Go for it. I've told you, do your thing. Nobody cares. So, now we know that he's obsessed with numbers, extremely jealous of people who are more successful than him, and as a result, he's angry about why people watch them and not him. Like a little schemer, he comes up with a solution to attack AP, then me, and then there might be a few more people on the list. But I'm telling you, people who put others down, expecting to look better themselves, don't go anywhere. You were a failure, you are a failure, and unless you change, you will remain a failure. You are a crybaby. You lose sleep when someone leaves a negative comment. He's the kind of person who sees negative comments and then starts crying and having sleepless nights. He also sees some messages of support and thinks, oh my God, there's so many people who are in love with me. Aladdin, know this. Whatever messages of support or hate you've received, I and other bigger influencers have received them far many more times than you have. You have barely even scratched the surface. This is why I said, when you get as experienced as me, you will stop taking these comments, labels, etc. so seriously. I have another piece of advice for you, Aladdin. If you want to receive happy, cushy, cuddly messages, then go review videos on ice creams. You're in the wrong industry. Actually, on second thoughts, a whinger like him will find an excuse to cry over that too after someone leaves a bad comment underneath his new Ben & Jerry's ice cream review video. But there are some added bonuses, Aladdin. You wouldn't have to hide your face like a coward you are. Actually, he's such a coward that he will say, "Oh, there's some angry ice cream reviewers out there to get me. That's why I wear a mask." Anyway, we all know that you want to get some notoriety, a big audience, and everyone singing your praises. Unless you change, that ain't gonna happen. Now that you have a slight idea of his broken personality, let me tell you how it is affecting him. He's so jumpy and hateful and keenly waiting for a gotcha moment that he jumps to conclusions without even understanding what the other person is saying. This is what he did with AP. When he was reading AP's tweet, he was reading the words, but he wasn't understanding what was written. Because he had a preconceived idea about AP and thought he had a gotcha moment, he jumped to a conclusion. He eventually gave a dishonest apology after 4 months.
Around 4 months ago, I made a live stream and a video where I criticized another ex-Muslim YouTuber, Apostate Prophet. In that video, I made a mistake where I unknowingly misrepresented a tweet he made. I knew that a day or two after I posted my video, and I'm here today to own up to my error and explain why it took me so long to do that.
Yeah, I know, for a self-righteous virtue-signaling prick, an honest apology is a monumental task. Have a listen to this. No hostilities had started at this point, and because he's so pissed about people having a bigger audience than him, his mind goes straight to the subscriber count, when that wasn't even my point. I was saying that being a social media influencer longer than him, I have learned that labels and slurs don't matter much. But instead of listening to this point, he cuts me off and starts revealing his insecurity about his small subscriber base and his lack of wisdom. Have a listen.
Maybe I'm a bit more experienced than you are on social media, so that's why these labels don't really anger me.
I mean, you can pull rank
that.
all you want, but it's clearly wisdom is not just about how many followers you have or how long you've been on social media.
No, I'm not saying that.
Aladdin, if you don't jump to conclusions and listen, then you might not embarrass yourself like this. Saying that I am more experienced than you doesn't mean I'm rubbing my large audience in your face. Amin Nawabi has less following than me, but he's far more experienced than I am, and this is the reason why I actually learn a lot from him. Doofus. Anyway, he thinks he knows it all, and with his armchair deductions, he thinks he's got everything figured out. Immediately after our exchange, he made this post purely out of assumption.
Harris Sultan could not stop praising Tommy Robinson and making excuses for him using racist slurs, but simultaneously, Harris has to distance himself from Tommy.
Here he's implying that Harris Sultan is now distancing himself from Tommy Robinson. And then he goes on to show how Harris Sultan secretly deleted his video with Tommy Robinson. Aladdin, this is what happens when you have a preconceived idea about someone. You join the dots and draw your own preconceived painting. Mostly you come up with wrong conclusions like you did here. Especially if your mind is as feeble as Aladdin's. I did not delete that video. It was removed by YouTube. Now, Aladdin, would I also have to wait for 4 months to get a dishonest half-ass apology from you? Let's see. So after I recorded this video, I noticed spineless Aladdin issued a retraction, but not an apology for making an ass out of himself. That's okay, it took him 4 months to apologize to AP, despite knowing of his error after 2 days. Maybe I'll also get one in 4 months' time? But remember, it's a monumental task for self-righteous pricks to recognize their mistakes and apologize, so no high expectations. There are at least 3 stupid jump to conclusion moments in our exchange, but this video has already taken a lot of my time for a slime ball as insignificant as him. Let's see how the little sniveling creature responds, and then I'll see if I have it in me to address the issues further. Frankly, I'm not in the habit of beating a dead horse. Anyway, let's see. Word of advice, Aladdin. Stop finding notoriety by attacking other people. You don't have what it takes because there are other people that I can imagine who will devour you. Grow up. Stop virtue signaling people. Stop trying to prove that they're all bad. Look at me, how good I am. Nobody called you a coward that you actually are before you went after people. I would not have made this video because I don't really care about your existence. This is the reason every ex-Muslim from differing views on Tommy Robinson or Israel-Palestine may not agree on issues, but they agree on one thing. that you are a little self-righteous, virtue-signaling prick. So I hope you enjoyed the video, unless you are Aladdin. Until next time, ta-da. If you'd like to support my work, you can become my patron by going to patreon.com/Harus Sultan, or you can simply buy me a coffee.